Welcome back to some more Roswell Tech, ladies and gentlemen. I've come to a decision. Given that pretty much any name that you see during the games is going to be gone at the end of the year, I don't think we're going to showcase any more video, or we're not going to do any more games this season. We're going to go ahead and get through this first season. We'll be doing our recruiting. I'll give recruiting updates throughout the episode, and then we will do off-season in this episode as well. And then the next episode following this one is going to be our first game of the new season with our new crew. All right, with that, we're going to go quickly through our top candidates, or prospects, I should say. Our quarterback, Puamu, definitely winning that race. We're beating out Arkansas. Love to see that. Doing well to get this defensive tackle. We're beating out Nebraska. Only person going after Toomer right now out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Don't know how this is going to unfold. We're competing with Oregon. Oregon is, just notoriously, I've not done well against recruiting against Oregon. It's just, it doesn't work out in my favor. Same with Dante Traywin here. Iowa and Kansas State. It's going to be hard to compete against them. Right now, we are beating out the Arizona schools for TJ Johns. We're up to second for Damian Sermons, but Syracuse is in a big lead though. But it looks like we made the most progress out of everybody. And then BJ Office right here. We're competing against Boise State. We'll see how that goes. Playing style right there is probably going to be a big deal. I feel like we're going to end up having to fall out of this race because of play style. But going back through everyone else again, Sermons is playtime, proximity to home, playtime, playing style. Another one we're probably going to lose out on. Playing style with the receiver. Given our offense, I think we might be able to stay above a C+ on this one. Proximity to home, and then playing time. And then just to put things in perspective for you, we watched the Air Force game, 27-24 defeat. Iowa State hung 79 on us. It's not going to be a good year for us. I'm not even sure we could beat the FCS East team that's on our schedule. We got some guys who are ready for visits. We got 60 hours kind of stocked up. First person we're going to put on a visit, though, is probably going to be Weinstein. And given how bad we are, I don't mind throwing him on this Kansas State game. We won't take too big of a hit for losing it, but if somehow we come out with a win, that would be amazing. Next up is Toomer, who conference prestige and playstyle. I think, playstyle is a big one for him. We're also going to bring him in for Kansas State. And then I'm actually pretty certain we could probably hard sell him. The only two options, I think, is going to be Gamer and Standard Bearer. We're going to try Standard Bearer first. We're the only guy recruiting him, so I feel confident we can gamble a little bit with him. Typically, I would do a soft sell, double soft sell in that scenario. Next up is TJ Johns, and I don't want to bring him in for the FCS East game because just no guarantee we're going to win that. And so we're going to put him on the Arizona game. After taking a big loss to Kansas, we're back into this. We got some more guys ready for some visits, and Hefner is one of those guys. We're going to bring him in for the complimentary visit with Weinstein. BJ Office is also ready for a visit, but unfortunately I think we're going to have to shift him to Arizona just to avoid the competitive visits. Going to be no complimentary visit with him on that one. And then I'm pretty sure I know these guys as hard sells. It's just, is it worth it? We might do it 1 week just to see how it goes. We're going to gamble here. I'm going to go for a sway on TJ Johns. Just to give us more favorable, something that we can hard sell on. And then we're going to soft sell his other thing, but that championship contender is going to hurt with an F on a hard sell. Uamua is finally ready for a visit, and it looks like playstyle is kind of hurt there, so I doubt we're going to ever be able to hard sell this guy. Arkansas is not making a whole lot of headway, but we're going to bring him in on the Arizona visit, get that complimentary visit with TJ Johns. Looking back through the first 4 or 5 games we played, it's not looking good for us. We're getting pretty much smoke checked by every bit of our Big 12 compatriots. And as you see, a combined record of 39-10, so it's going to be increasingly more difficult to win games. We went and found us a linebacker at Alfred here. We've offered him a scholarship, put a little bit of time into him. Possibly, no one's recruiting him, so we're trying to sneak in there. We're going to do the slow burn approach first, though. Puamua here, though, up to his top 5. Hopefully, we can get to that top 3 quick. I don't want to get into a boat race with Arkansas. Weinstein, Nebraska, and Oklahoma both making big gains on us, but hopefully we can close this recruiting battle out quick. Go ahead and get him committed. He is in his top 3. UCF's finally coming into the picture for Zach Toomer. Need to try to hurry up this one along as well. And it looks like we were wrong with Standard Bearer. So we're going to have to shift to... Where's it at? I can find it again. Yeah, it's this one. It's Gamer. Playstyle's taking a little bit of a hit. Commerce Procedure's still up there, though. Debating on if I want to try Sway. We're beating everybody out right now. No one else is scheduled to visit. We've got his hard sell in. It's doing well for us. We're making a lot of progress, so I think we're going to roll with it for now. Traywin, though, is finally ready for his visit. We're going to also bring him in during Arizona week. The Sway did not work for TJ Johns, and the soft sell is just not doing enough. And we have now, it's going to be a close one with Arizona. They might steal this one from us. Given how close this battle is, we've swapped back to the hard sell, abandoning the Sway. Probably shouldn't have done it in the first place. And then we're bringing Sermons in on a week 9 visit. We finally overtook Syracuse. Yeah, to this point, we haven't looked good stats-wise. I don't know if it's the playbook. I've been contemplating swapping our playbook. We're just not getting anything done. I mean, it could be just how bad this team is, but I'm strongly considering swapping to a different playbook. I don't know that it's going to amount to anything or change anything for us, but we're actually going to swap to the Miami playbook. See if that does. I just want to see if it makes a difference in our offensive production. Recruiting-wise, we might as well take Ed Alford off the list. Alabama's already in the hunt. We still haven't cracked the top 10. Mainly because we just don't have the points to put into it. We're going to go ahead and get him off the board. Puamua is still trucking along there. We're close to getting Weinstein to commit. I think if we can get him to commit this week, that we can lock that up for sure. Toomer, same way. I'm worried about Havner. Traywin, though, I mean, everyone's making very big strides in this department. We can't hard sell anything. We've managed to come into a recruiting battle with TJ Johns, and yeah, honestly, I just don't know how that's going to work out. I don't know that we can beat Arizona in a recruiting shootout. Damian Sermons, I wish we could hard sell him, but I don't think that we can. We could probably give it a try, though. I think the clutch is what's going to be his big deal. We'll see what it does for us. See if it gives us an edge at all. BJ Office, we've overtaken Boise State, and I think we're doing good. Looks like the hard sell was the play. Might get a commit here. And we got some commits, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get Weinstein. And we get Zach Toomer. So we would get our first win against the FCS East team. We absolutely throttled them. Maybe the change in the offensive playbook helped. We're going to find out against Arizona. So with the 2 commits, it's going to free up some hours for us. We went and found a running back, Dan Head, right here. The speed is a bit concerning, but he's a power back. And so we're going to need running backs. It's just all there is to it. So we're going to get a shot at this 4-star here. Still trucking along with Puamua. Same with Havner. Hopefully we can lock this one up. There's nothing I can do to make that go faster. Unfortunately, though, with Dante Traywin, Kansas had a very big Week 6 visit. Hopefully we can get a big Week 7 visit. We'll see how it goes, but if not, we're going to have to pull out of this race. And then TJ Johns, again, it's going to come down to the visit. And that's just all there is to it. Sermons, we're still holding strong, holding Syracuse back. A couple of the schools are making a push, but if we can make it to Week 9, I feel confident we can secure that one. And then BJ Office, we should get a commit this week. And then with some of our top prospects starting to close out recruiting, we're starting to shift those hours down, and we're going to start broadening our horizons and try to fill out a respectable roster. Looks like we got some commits. We did get BJ Office. But unfortunately, it looks like TJ Johns decided to sign with Arizona. So we got some more points. We're going to see if anything happens here with Dan Head. Still in the lead for Puamu, but Arkansas is coming along. That Week 10 visit's going to be rough for us. Should have Havner locked up this week. We've fallen down to third for Traywin. I think we might as well go ahead and abandon this fight. I may leave it on for one more week just to see what happens, but I think Kansas is going to get this one. And then Damian Sermons. It's all going to come down to that Week 9 visit, I think. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have Craig Havner committed. The Dan Head, we've launched out into the front there. Should be a runaway for us as long as things stay this way. Down to 3 schools with Puamu. Hopefully we can close this one out. Yeah, we're going to get out of this fight. Still, I don't know. God, we just need to make it to that Week 9 visit. Just everybody keeps getting closer and closer with sermons. We have made it all the way to Week 10. We almost beat UTEP. Nearly missed that when BYU and Arizona destroyed us. Barely lost to New Mexico. Honestly, I think if we would have been using this new playbook, we might have actually got the win over New Mexico. But that was off of the veer and shoot. And I feel like offensively, we've just done better in the Miami playbook. I think we're going to stick with it for now. Recruiting-wise, Dan Head, we're out to a very commanding lead. No one's really competing with us on that one. Still slowly chugging along with Puamu, but here's the problem. We're in Week 10. Arkansas could get a really big visit and knock us out of the race or force us into a recruiting battle, and we're just not going to win that. And it looks like same thing might happen with Syracuse and Sermons. And then we got a couple other guys that we've been kind of floating points around to, trying to fill out our roster. Probably going to start dumping more 25 hours into people. We got to start locking some guys up. And then all these people that we've added through shards and all that, I haven't scouted them. I haven't. And I'm not going to. It's just not worth the limited hours we have. We're going to dump 25 hours into all of them and see how far along we can get them and then push it into off-season recruiting. And there it is. Syracuse gets the commit. So the Week 10 visit was not enough to secure the bag for Arkansas, so hopefully with Puamu we can still lock up our quarterback, but unfortunately we're going to lose out on Sermons. Now we're just going to start trying to get some guys in on a visit. All of them are going to be bye-week visits, so hoping for the best on some of these. Looks like Dan Head is ready for his visit. We're going to go ahead and get that taken care of. I mean, we're right there on the cusp with Puamu. We might lock him up this week. And the worst has happened. We are now in a recruiting battle with Arkansas. So hopefully we can pull this off. We still got a couple weeks. Still got a big lead on Puamu. We might actually be able to lock him up after this week. Dan Head's still in his top 5. We're the only people recruiting him. That should be an easy lock for us. And then we got a couple other guys that, we might get, we might not get. Probably about to start increasing the amount of hours we're putting into some of these people. We don't really need visits anymore at this point. It'd be a waste, so we're going to save all those visits for the first week of off-season recruiting as we get ready for our final game against Baylor. And we got him, ladies and gentlemen. We got the quarterback we wanted of the future. Looks like we also secured one of the free safeties we were going after. We're in conference championships, and I think I'm going to fire both of our coordinators. We definitely need to find us someone who's going to actually help us build this program up. So both of our coordinators are gone. Cade Klubinek is going to win the Heisman Trophy. 4 of these coaches for our offensive coordinator really piqued my interest. This is Aaron Watson, Mike Loxley, Eric Raymond, and Kevin Schreiber. And honestly, I think Mike Loxley brings the most to the table. I don't know how likely it is that we get him, but he comes with scheme guru, strategist, and elite recruiter. So I think this is who we need to go after. And then really the only guy who piqued my interest for defensive coordinator is Ryan Beard. Reason being, scheme guru, motivator, but he's also architect. So that's the 2 we're going to offer. We're going to see what happens with that. It looks like Mike Loxley decided to be our offensive coordinator. And we got our defensive coordinator as well. Going over some big moves here, it looks like Ryan Silverfield, formerly of Memphis, is now the head coach of Auburn. Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss and takes the Oklahoma coaching job. Matt Campbell left Iowa State to become Nebraska's head coach. Brent Venables was fired. He does not have a new school yet. Lincoln Riley leaves USC, or was fired from USC, and is signed by Washington. Matt Rule was fired by Nebraska, and he now coaches for Maryland. Hugh Freeze, after being fired by Auburn, would end up going to Troy. And the reason we were able to get Mike Loxley and Ryan Beard is they were both fired. Looks like BYU, SMU, Raging Cajuns, Toledo, and Vanderbilt are all still looking for head coaches. Taking a look at the bracket, a lot of craziness going on. Navy actually made it into the playoffs. Were beat by Texas Tech. Georgia barely beat BYU. Michigan roast Boise State. And then Ohio State destroyed SMU. In the second round, Texas Tech obliterated Notre Dame. Georgia wins by 1 against Penn State. Oregon wins by 3 over Michigan. And then Ohio State inches by Clemson. But Georgia was too much for Texas Tech. And Oregon ultimately beat Ohio State. So your national championship game is Oregon taking on Georgia. And your national champions are Oregon. They inch by Georgia by 5. Going over some stats real quick for our team. Damon Johnson just really didn't have a good year. Completing 50% of his passes, less than 3,000 yards, only 12 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Rushing wise, a little bit of a mixed bag from all of our guys. Corey Stone, though, leading the way in terms of touchdowns. We did not have a single 1,000-yard receiver. Darius Washington was our number 1 receiver, though. And we would ultimately go 1-11. So definitely, we can only go up from here, I would think. And like I said, we got a bunch of turnover. Several people want to transfer out. And I think we're going to have to approach this just based off of the need of a position. I've only got 2 chances here. We definitely need to keep offensive linemen. Let's get a chance here. So we persuade him to stay. And then I don't feel like I can afford to lose a corner. But, I mean, his reason for leaving is proximity to home. Not a whole lot I can do about that. It's going to be a problem every year. We ultimately tried to convince Quincy Mims to stay, but he's not going to do it. We have restocked our recruiting board with prospects here. Hitting the transfer portal hard, going after a bunch of position needs. We'll go more in depth as this all unfolds, but then we have guys down here that we're still going after, and then some guys that have us locked out, but we might still be able to get them at the end. I'm going to monitor that. We got a lot of guys that want to come in on visits that we're going to go ahead and start locking some of these up. Coming off a strong week 2 recruiting push here, we have Lafferty for the fill position our need at Mike. We also get Will position, weak side linebacker here, Rodney Favors. In week 3 of recruiting, prioritizing, kind of trying to give us a better edge on some of these prospects. We'll go over, more in depth at National Signing Day, who we actually get, but we're taking a lot of big swings. Unfortunately, we don't have enough hours to go around. Got a huge deficit at corner we're trying to rectify here. We lost 2 running backs, trying to replace that. I think we got Dan Head almost locked up, though, so if we can't get good bumps here, may abandon these. We've already pulled out of a couple of runs. We've got a receiver right here, definitely need that. And then trying to restock at offensive line. We'll see how it goes. But we just got a bunch of holes that we have to fill. And then we still need a punter. We'll see if we get one. Looks like we do finally lock up the commitment from Dan Head. We're also going to get Jeff Penny. And then it looks like, we lost out on a couple guys. Kind of had a feeling we were going to. Looks like we took major hits to playing time, all because looks like Exodus Ayers here is very keen on joining us. So might as well go ahead and drop both these guys off. We're going to full send on Exodus Ayers, even though strong possibility we lose out to San Diego State here. We actually have a really good hard sell on him, so we're going to lock that in and hope that we get the commit. So for our last little push here, we're going to see if we can lock up these guys. And then I have gone and basically anybody who didn't have a scholarship that could fill a need for us, offered them a scholarship. And we're going to see what week 4 brings us. Probably going to see a good bit of commits here. We got Exodus Ayers. We ended up getting our punter. Got us another corner, so we're restocking that position pretty well. Good. Got us an offensive lineman. None of these are going to be super flashy. Got a quarterback for reserves. Another halfback. We had so much turnover. Yeah, we're going to have us some. Looks like we got a good bit of the people that we went after. Thinking we might be okay. I tried to prioritize transfers, but that way we can get some off-season training in with them. So we signed almost everyone, missed out on 4 people. No big deal though. So we signed 26 people. These 2 did not commit anywhere. I don't know if that's a glitch or what. We're going to leave them on the board just in case. You know, preferred walk-on status. But taking a look here, our biggest miss is probably going to be tight end. And that's going to hurt if we don't have any tight ends. But going through some development here, Exodus Ayers has impact. Nakua with normal, impact on Thomas, normal, impact on, is that threat or threat? Normal, impact on head, impact on Lafferty, normal, bunch of normals. Star on Vela, a QB, so he's going to give Humu a run for his money. Impact on Office, normal. Star on Havner, that is beautiful. Love to see that. Humu also has Star. Impact on Bonilla. Normal. Impact on Jernigan. Normal. Yeah. So I think we got a pretty good haul. So we had the 38th best recruiting class. Ended up pulling 6 4-stars and 14 3-stars and filled out with some 2s and 1s. I'm going to quickly kind of look at everything here. Humu is the projected starter. We'll see about the development of Vela. Halfback, we're going to have 3 again, it looks like. That's it. But Dan Head and Connor Booth both leading the way there. Demarion Jefferson, though, I think he's returning for us. Fullback, Greg Jackson at receiver. Zach Toomer is going to come in and see a lot of action early on. Nakua is probably going to be a 1 or a 2 for us. We'll see about Skylar Simpson, Warwick Masters, Asher Creighton, and Chris Copper. At tight end, we're going to have to heavily recruit tight ends because, this is what we're working with here. Left tackle is definitely going to need some work. Hopefully we can get some good development at offensive line. Pretty standard going across, though, but it's going to be a very weak offensive line for us. We're flush at right edge. Some of them are probably going to play on that left side for us. I'm hesitant to do position changes. I know they're kind of buggy right now. Good at defensive tackle. Possibly going to have a freshman starting for us. So we're going to have to see what development brings us. It's going to be very interesting to see for sure. Because if we don't get good development, it's going to be a rough season for us. We do have 1 athlete, though. Oh, perfect. He's a edge rusher. I forgot about Office. So we're going to do this by position. The only quarterback we could develop was Brady Bryant. We got him up to a 65 overall. Connor Booth and Demarion Jefferson only go up 1 apiece in terms of overall. Greg Jackson gets up to a 72 overall. Not as much development as we would have liked from the receiver position. Nakua gets up to a 73. Skylar Simpson's up to a 67. Chris Copper comes up to 66, Asher Creighton to 64, and then Warwick Masters to 62. Tight ends, Thomas Ivy up to a 68, Percy Harrison with the biggest jump going all the way up to 67, Hilliard up to 62, and Schooner stays in the 50s. Our only left tackle, Andrew Williams. Unfortunately, the raw strength archetype, I mean, there at the end, you get what you can get, but he's up to a 60. Melvin McGrady gets up to a 63 overall. Grant Huffman is up to a 65. Jeremy Johns up to a 61. And Ledecky is staying at a 73. Another one of those raw strength. Try to avoid him if you can. And then Davin Gross up to a 57. Jim Smith gets up to a 69. Don't think it's going to be enough to overtake the freshman. He's also almost maxed out. Trayvon Thomas gets up to a 74 overall. He also picks up the ability takedown. John Marvin II up to a 63. Ojugo up to a 74. Scorp gets up to a 60. And Stowell is a 54. Stephen Sharp gets up to a 71. Benjamin Lawrence gets up to a 65. And he also unlocks the knockout ability. Bubba Jackson gets up to a 72. And Elijah Harvey gets up to a 66. Jernigan's is going to make it up to a 75. Fellows gets to a 67, and Gallows makes it to a 62. Corner big time transfer Exodus Ayers makes it all the way up to an 84 and gets some upgrades on some abilities. He gets blanket coverage and jammer up to silver. Simon Coles up to a 69. Dax Millard up to a 68, and Marshall Manson up to a 61. Free safety Miguel Sanchez up to a 63. Andre Threet up to 73. Jose Alvarez gets up to 67. And Chris Carey goes to 62. Stone Harrington gets all the way up to a 69, getting a huge buff to his kicking. Cromwell just couldn't keep up. He's going to be a 64. Overall, I think we had some pretty solid training. Obviously, we only have one player over 80 overall, so it's going to be a rough look for us for sure. But if we can keep these guys and keep on developing like this, I think we'll be able to produce some pretty good talent. Still got a few deal breakers we're worried about. We'll kind of see what happens with the season. Playing style didn't end up being a major deal break for us in recruiting this past season, and we were by far much worse. And then given the sheer amount of upgrading we did, we had a bunch of coach points. I went ahead and unlocked recruiter and tactician. Then we went pretty much tier 1 on all these to get some faster scouting in. Quarterback I'm not too concerned with. I think we're pretty good at quarterback right now. It's definitely not a position we're going to be going after. And then as you see here, 61 players on the roster, so no need to encourage anyone to transfer. Our schedule this season, we're going to open week 1 against Air Force. Good rivalry game. We're going to get that rematch. Then we're going to have to travel to Hawaii and play Hawaii. Then we get Houston, Oklahoma State. Then we got our home game against New Mexico. Get a nice little bye. Then it's Utah, Kansas State, Arizona State, Iowa State, and then at UTEP this year, followed by Texas, and then at UCF. All right, this go around in recruiting. Not going to make too many big swings. A lot of holes that we're going to have to fill. I feel like it'd be better to go after quantity here. So this we've done. As you see, we got a full board of 35. We're going to try and spread these points around as much as possible. Not looking to get in any major recruiting battles, so we start losing out. We're going to drop them. We're going to find somebody else. So far, I've been able to identify one gem, and that is left tackle Suragasa. And we're going to see kind of how that goes for us, I guess. Looks like we're going to have some stout competition, depending on how it goes. But if nobody is really recruiting him, I plan on putting 50 on him. We'll close it out quick. Going through our depth chart real quick, we have Puamua, obviously the true freshman, starting for us. Backed up by Taylor Vela, who most likely will transfer. And then Brady Bryant. At halfback, we're going to have a freshman duo in Dan Head and transfer Connor Booth. At least I'm pretty sure he's a transfer. I want to say it was one of our transfers. But then Demarion Jefferson and also Greg Jackson. And then Greg Jackson's going to be our main fullback. And then we have one for in reserve. At wide receiver, Zach Toomer is our number 1. Nakua in the 2 spot. And then followed by Simpson, Cooper, Creighton, and Masters. Tight end is going to be Thomas Ivy and Percy Harrison. At left tackle, we have redshirt freshman Andrew Williams starting, and he's a 60 overall. It's not ideal but it's what it's what we're going to have to work with. Left guard's going to be Ben Ledecky. At center, it's going to be Grant Huffman. Right guard's going to be McGrady, and right tackle is Davin Gross. And as you've noticed, our offensive line is abysmal for this season. At left edge is going to be BJ Office. Right edge is going to be Havner. So we got 2 freshmen starting on the edges. At defensive tackle, we've got freshman Weinstein and transfer Ojugo. Jernigan is going to play in the Sam for us. Mike is going to be Bubba Jackson and freshman Hayden Lafferty. And then Stephen Sharp will play in the wheel. Our corners, it's going to be Exodus Ayers, Simon Coles, Dax Millard, and then another freshman, Archer Rotutu. I'm not even, you know what? That's the last time I'll probably try to pronounce his name. We're just going to call him AJ. That's AJ. And then Marshall Manson. At free safety, Miguel Sanchez gets the start. And at strong safety, it's going to be 3 backed up by senior Jose Alvarez. Harrington is going to be kicker for us. He has the most kick power. And then punter, freshman Werlo. Returning kicks for us is going to be Masters and Copper. Same thing for punt returns. It's going to be Masters and Copper. Harrington is going to be our kickoff specialist. Long snapper at a whopping 40 overall is DeAndre Blanco. Demarion Jefferson is going to be our third down back. He has the most experience and he also has the speed. Power back is going to be Dan Head, and Connor Booth. Simpson's going to be lining up in the slot for us. And then our, rushing left edge is Havner. Rushing right edge is Thomas. And then rushing defensive tackles is going to be Weinstein and Ojugo. Our sub-package linebackers are going to be Jernigan and Bubba Jackson. Ayers is going to be our slot corner. Don't know how I feel about this. I kind of want to put Millard in the slot corner. That way we can have Exodus on the outside. But, he has really good... I think we're going to have to leave him in the slot. I think he's going to work best in the slot for us. It's going to leave us super vulnerable on the outsides. But it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. May make that adjustment later. I changed my mind. I don't want to be exposed that bad on the edges. Exodus is our best guy. I feel like Miller needs to be the one that plays the slot for us. And nose tackle is going to be Ojugo. And then Connor Booth is our gadget guy. All right, recruiting board for going forward from this point. We'll follow up in the next episode. But given our massive need for offensive line, I have decided that is what I'm going to target. We have found one more gem, but I am going to full send on linemen. And we'll see what happens. Several people on this list, we're the only one going after right now, so I feel like it'll pay off. We'll have to see how things kind of unfold, but we're going to full send on some linemen, and then we'll start filling in the blanks in other places. We're going to probably watch the Air Force game. It'll probably be the start of the next episode, and then we'll probably sim up to the New Mexico game. I plan on having that one be a watch game as well. And then after New Mexico, UTEP is, because it's a rivalry game, it's probably the only one. We'll have to see kind of how we're competing with competition on whether or not I want to watch any of these Big 12 games, but those are the 3 that I want to focus on the most. That's going to wrap up things here. I don't think I have anything else to show. Got a lot of editing to do here, but make sure you tune in next time. And as always, go Martians.